Okay, so we gamers spend a lot of time obsessing about graphics and image quality, but I would argue that audio is just as important to creating that next level gaming experience.
And I would take it a step further and say that it is, in some cases, more important than, let's say, visual fidelity. Something like Rainbow Six Siege, for example, you can get away with pretty high settings and still see everything. But for that game, you're going to need the absolute best sound quality possible. You are going to need a headset that can hear every little footstep from walls away from you, from rooms away, all these bizarre little specific gadget specific audio cues. You're going to need to hear all this odd stuff with the utmost precision. So you have a giant competitive disadvantage if you do not have the best cans and the best settings for those cans enabled. And then
That's
one
very
more
true.
tangent. Yeah, that's true. And then on the flip side, just for recreational users, you still want the best audio quality because if you're playing a game like Sonic, where every single level's music is the best in the entire medium, do you really want to miss out on the boosty bass? Do you want to miss out on the treble? No, I don't think so.
Robert always finds a way to bring it back to Sonic, but you are correct. The
Always.
music is a bop. So, all good points and kind of two different scenarios of how to tweak the settings for your audio. So, we're going to talk about kind of both of those situations today too. So, let's say you've got an ROG gaming headset, as Robert and I both do on this stream, as you can see, of course. Before we talk about any settings or any equalization or virtual surround or anything like that, we have to start kind of at the beginning, right? How do you connect your headset to your computer? Because that's extremely important. And a lot of our ROG headsets have multiple ways of doing that. So, Robert, right now you are using the ROG Delta S,
Delta S.
which is
Yeah.
a slightly older headset. That is a wired headset. We do also have a wireless version. So the wired, obviously, you can only connect that wired over USB. We have the Delta Core, which is a 3.5mm wired. We have the Delta S wireless, which can be connected, I believe, over USB with a USB cable, or you can use it wirelessly over 2.4 gigahertz with a little USB dongle. Then still others like the Delta 2 that I am wearing. This is our flagship headset right now. This is tri-mode, which means you can connect it wired, you can connect it wireless over 2.4 gigahertz with that USB dongle, or you can connect it wirelessly over Bluetooth. Which do you choose? Too many choices. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this easy. I am of the opinion that unless you have special reason not to, 2.4 gigahertz wireless with that USB dongle is going to be the best bet for most people, provided your headset supports it. It's going to have little to no discernible latency, so it's basically just as good as wired in that respect, but it doesn't have a wire. Now, some people like Jake need a wired connection because he's using like a soundboard and stuff like that, so he wants to connect over 3.5mm. That's fine, but for most people, 2.4 gigahertz wireless with the USB receiver is going to be give you the best of all worlds. Now, Bluetooth, like the Bluetooth in this Delta 2, it is handy if you want to connect to your phone to do like the Discord call on your phone and listen to the game on your headset, because this has that dual flow audio feature where you can play multiple sources at once. That's pretty cool. But Bluetooth in general, the audio quality of Bluetooth is not always quite as high as you're going to get over wired or 2.4 gigahertz. And it often comes with latency as well. And sorry, when I say Bluetooth audio quality, I mean for the audio coming into your headphones and for the mic too. Those of you who watched our Grand Theft Auto stream with Ned Luke about a month or two ago may remember that I brought my Delta headset with me on vacation, forgot my dongle at home. So I was forced to use Bluetooth, and everyone was like, why does your mic not sound as good as it should? That's because I was using Bluetooth instead of the dongle. Now, it was great that I have the Bluetooth for those situations where I forgot my dongle, right? Like, it's definitely a great feature to have. Or if you're just like on an airplane and you just want to listen to music, you just want to do it without having to plug anything in or find your dongle. Like, it is a really great feature. But for gaming where latency really matters and where audio quality really matters, I would go 2.4 gigahertz. So that's
Or
that.
if you're someone like me who just hates having to worry about battery life in general, even though these things offer dozens upon dozens of hours of battery life, wired is always a nice option just for the peace of mind.
Also a very good point. And that's another point in favor of Bluetooth. Bluetooth is going to have better battery life than that 2.4 gigahertz for those same reasons. You're lowering some of the quality and the latency a bit, but you are getting more battery out of it. So if you do want to go wireless, but battery life is important, that's kind of like a middle ground there.
And the RGB affects all of this too. You turn off the RGB, you get more battery life.
Also
so
true.
One more optimization as far as optimal settings are concerned.
That's true.
If you really want to go the distance. Yeah.
Okay. So you've connected your headset, particularly if you've connected over 2.4 gigahertz like we've talked about, you will find lots of settings in Armory Crate. Here we go. If you do not see your Delta 2 appear in your list of devices, you'll need to go to Settings, go to the Update Center, and check for updates. One of the things about Armory Crate is that we don't put everything into Armory Crate. It doesn't have the code for all of the peripherals and all of the devices that we sell, right? That's not necessary because most people don't own every single device that we sell. So how it works is that it's kind of modular. When you first plug in a device, an update will appear in this list. You can download the update, and then you will get all of the settings available for that device. So you can head over to your Devices tab here. Oh, hey, my Delta 2 has appeared. Now I can click on it and get all of my settings. So once you do that, you've got a lot of things to play with. One of the first things that people tend to gravitate towards is the equalizer. Many of you are probably familiar with the idea here, right? By dragging these sliders up and down, you can adjust how loud or quiet certain frequencies are. So, your headset has a default sound signature that's governed by the hardware itself. But, and we've tuned those drivers to have what we consider the ideal amount of bass and treble and whatnot. In fact, the ROG Delta 2 in particular was tuned with to match what we call the Harman curve, which the really short version, I'm not going to get too nerdy, but this is like what a lot of consumer research has shown to be the most pleasant sound signature to the widest variety of people. So the Delta 2 actually sounds very good out of the box, and most people will be fine with it right out of the box. I'm personally a big fan of the Harman curve, so I don't find the need to equalize the Delta 2 very much. But not everyone has the exact same preferences, right? The Harman curve may get you close to what you like, or maybe you like more of a V shape. You like a lot of bass and a lot of treble for that really like kind of fun sound signature. That's one area where the equalizer can come in. Now I have to apologize a little bit for the title of this video because everyone is always asking us, what are the best settings for my headset? And the answer is there is no one best settings.
You.
Yeah. So I titled the video that way because that's kind of like what people look for. But what we're really showing you is how to figure it out for yourself, because people are always like, what's the equalizer curve that I should use? Well, it's kind of tuned to your personal preferences. Now, there are some starting points that I might recommend, like that Harman curve. But everyone's ears are shaped differently. Everyone's preferences are different, and so on. Even changing the ear pads is going to change the sound of your headset, right? Are you using the leather or the fabric on yours?
I'm using the faux leather because, I've got a beard, so the smoothness of the faux leather feels really, really comfy. But of course, the fabric ones are very breathable. And as you mentioned, they do modify the sound experience ever so slightly. So that's one more IRL best setting you need to factor in.
Yeah. It's so, because you're right, part of it is comfort. But part of it is sound isolation, like the leather's going to isolate sound a little bit better. You get a little bit more bass. Some people might find the fabric more comfortable. The Delta headsets tend to come with both ear pads in the box.
Yes, many awesome. Delta models include both.
So that's one tweak you can make right out of the box to decide which one you like better. But then the smaller tweaks you can make with the equalizer. While you may not want to hear it, if you want to dial it in, you just have to experiment a little bit, right? You want a little bit more bass, play with these two sliders on the left. You want a little bit less sparkle in the high end, you turn these down. Now that said, we do have some kind of presets here that you can kind of play with if you want. But the other thing, as Robert kind of mentioned, is if you are playing a competitive game, CS2, Rainbow Six, Siege, whatever, what you probably want to equalize for is not something like the Harman curve, not necessarily a pleasing audio sound, but you want some kind of gaming sound optimization. So you want something like this FPS mode, which is going to try and amplify things like footsteps. It's going to give you a little bit of bass boosting compression. So it's making those audio cues that Robert talked about earlier more audible. So you're trying to get that competitive advantage over people, right? Now, you don't have to just pick this preset and go with it. Every game has different audio cues that might be at slightly different frequencies. So you can look up the game that you are playing and tweak it from here or from flat to kind of figure out what is the most optimal audio setting for that game. But again, it depends on your headset. So don't just go off of someone else's settings necessarily. Use that to inform your settings with your ears, with your headset.
Depends on the headset, depends on your ears, depends on the game, but it also depends on what you're doing. As the flip side of what Whitson just said, which is showing how to optimize for an FPS in general, the flip side would be if you're listening to music, for example, with these Delta S's, I wasn't quite getting the sound I wanted, so I hit up Whitson yesterday and I'm like, can you explain to me how I can make this thing absolutely bop for music? He and I are both big Tron fans, and I've been listening to the Nine Inch Nails album that just came out for Tron Ares, and I'm like, how do I get this thing to just pack a wallop every time some really boozy bass crops up? And so he gave me this preset that he clearly meticulously hammered out, and it changed the game for me. So don't think that these dials are like superficial or like light cosmetic changes. They completely overhaul the experience if you're using them properly.
If you do it right. And so, I mean, this is getting really nerdy, but one of the things I did is when I had, because that Delta S that Robert has, I used to have that. That's why I had this preset just at the ready.
I get his hand-me-downs.
Yeah. I looked up the measurements for that. And I said, okay, so this is where the measurements are, and I want to target something like the Harman curve. How much do I need to turn up or down 125? How much do I need to turn down 250 hertz, 1000 hertz, like along those lines? And then I started there and then kind of tuned it to my preferences. And so I just had that preset that I sent to Robert and he could plug it in. But then, from there, he can tune it himself. He can turn the bass boost, which is a little bit of a simpler slider, up and down as he sees fit, right? For that Nine Inch Nails soundtrack. Really slam you in the face. I actually haven't heard it yet. I'm a bad Tron fan.
Listen out.
Compressor is a little bit different. Compressor is one of those things that it takes like the really loud sounds and the really quiet sounds and it kind of levels them out. So if you're like watching movies and you don't like movies that do that, you can kind of compress them. It also, again, is useful in games if you're trying to take those really quiet audio cues and make them a little bit more audible. That's why you see it turned up in this FPS setting. So, and voice clarity obviously makes voices clear. Now, this is for the headsets itself. Let's talk about the microphone settings for a second. We'll come back to virtual surround in a minute. Don't forget. All right. Microphone. If you go to the microphone tab here, I'm not using the microphone on the headset right now. This is the boom mic that comes with it. I'm using the Carnix, so these settings don't apply to me right this second, but just to show you what they do. This is noise gate. Perfect voice and echo cancellation are all features that help your voice sound better and reduce noise. Now, here's the thing. You'll want to check and see if the program that you're using for voice chat already has some of these features built in. And these days, most of them do, right? So if you're chatting with friends on Discord while you play Call of Duty or whatever, Discord already has a noise gate and noise reduction features built in. And some of those are on by default. So in those cases, you won't need to turn them on here. You can adjust those in the Discord app. Or if you want to try them here, you would want to turn them off in the Discord app and then turn them on here. You don't want to double up because they're going to conflict, right? So those are useful features. Perfect voice just adds a little bit of clarity to your voice. It is nice. The higher you turn these up, right, the more or less sensitive. Sorry, noise gate, I guess I should clarify. Echo cancellation and noise reduction does what it sounds like, cancels out echo and extra noise in the background. Noise gate means that when I'm not talking, the mic shuts off. So if I had some kind of noise in the background, like my air conditioning or whatever, or like my refrigerator compressor over here, you would still hear that when I'm talking, but when I stop talking, the noise gate would basically silence it by just silencing my mic. So turning this up makes it more sensitive to noise closest to it. Turning it down makes it less sensitive. Does that make sense? Did I explain that in a way that makes sense, Robert?
Clicked with me?
Okay, cool. All right. Sometimes I just want to make sure.
That sound off.
Yeah. So now some people may be looking at this and asking, hey, what about AI noise cancellation. Isn't that like a big feature of the ROG stuff? It was. Some headsets like the Delta S RGB that Robert is using came with an onboard AI noise cancellation chip. But again, these days, like I said, like a lot of voice and video chat apps already have that built in. So it didn't make sense for us to keep building that into the headset when most people were just going to use what their software already came with. So we still do have the AI noise cancellation feature, but it's back to being a feature for the computer itself. So it comes on our motherboards and our laptops. So if you have an ROG motherboard or an ROG laptop, you'll find it in that device setting. So go to devices, and like I would go to my motherboard and it would be there. And that's going to allow you to, again, if you don't want to use like Discord's noise cancellation, you can use the AI noise cancellation on your motherboard. But what it's really useful for is if your friends have some crappy noise cancellation that doesn't work very well, you can use the AI noise cancellation feature on your motherboard or laptop to cancel noise from their audio feed, which is great. That's where I think that feature like really shines. So that's just kind of an update on where that is. Finally, let's talk about, yes, there's this settings tab. You've got some stuff here. Side tone means you can hear your own voice as you talk, which some people like. I leave that off. And you've just got your volume here. I clicked on the wrong thing. One thing I will mention is this headset does support Armory Crate gear. So if you don't want the full version of Armory Crate, you can download a more lightweight little app that has some of these settings in it. Handy.
It's worth noting with Armory Crate gear that, if I'm not mistaken, Gear Link, which is a web app, just a complete web-based version, will be slowly replacing that in the future.
Yes, but it's device dependent, right? So this device supports Armory Crate gear, but some of our newer ones use the newer Gear Link, which is a web app. Yes, that is a
so just stay frosty as upcoming headsets come out.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about virtual surround. Finally, this is kind of the last thing, and this is a very big topic. You probably have seen this virtual surround option. You may have heard of this before, which is, so if you're not familiar with the concept, this is how it works. In the home theater world, right, we have this thing called surround sound. And maybe you can't see behind me, but I've got, you can, right here. I've got a speaker on my wall by my couch. It lets you got speakers in the front, you got speakers in the back or to the side, maybe above you, which when you're watching a movie or playing a game means you're like enveloped in this giant bubble of sound. If something happens behind you, if an enemy is shooting you from behind you, you'll hear it in the speaker behind you instead of the speaker in front, which gives you more directionality to the sound. Very immersive and a nice competitive advantage. Particularly awesome when gaming. This is where I game back here, and the surround is awesome. If you're on a headset, you obviously can't put speakers all around you. You just have the drivers right up next to your ears. It just doesn't really work like that. But what we can do is we can recreate some of that experience with what's called a head-related transfer function. This is an algorithm that takes into account the way that our ears are shaped, right? You've got all these weird grooves and stuff in your ear that are designed to help work with your brain to detect where sounds are coming from. Right? Because you only have 2 ear holes. It's not like you got ear holes in the back of your head. That's what those grooves in your ear do. So this algorithm takes
news to me, dude. I'm learning stuff.
The algorithm takes all that stuff into account in the way that our brains interpret it, and it alters the audio signal coming out of your PC to kind of trick your brain into thinking that certain sounds are coming from behind you or above you or whatever. Now, again, everyone's ears are shaped a little bit differently, and everyone's brains are different, right? So you may not respond exactly the same to the same head-related transfer function algorithm that I do. So there are a few different forms of virtual surround that you can try, and some people may like one better than the other just based on your own ears and brain and stuff. So try all of these and see which resonates with you. One of them is here in Armory Crate, right? Flip this on, and you should find that your audio gets more spacious and immersive. You can click this button to kind of click on these speakers to hear the sounds and see that, oh yeah, that sounds like it's coming from behind me. So that is one option. That is using our algorithm that comes with our headset. That's something that you get from us. Now, in Windows 11, Microsoft also has built virtual surround into the operating system. The feature is called Spatial Sound, and you can find it, here I'm going to show you. You can find it by clicking the audio button down here in the taskbar. And choosing this audio output thing. Make sure that your headset is selected. And then when you scroll down, you'll see these spatial sound options, okay? So right now I have it turned off. Windows Sonic for headphones is a free plugin that comes with Windows. So spatial sound uses different plugins, right? It's a framework that different developers can say, here's my algorithm for virtual surround, and it plugs right into this Windows feature. So Windows Sonic is Microsoft's kind of virtual surround algorithm. It comes free with Windows, so you can try that, see if it works for you. But then there are other plugins like Dolby Atmos, which you've probably heard of. Dolby's a big name in the home theater space, and they have virtual surround options for PCs as well. If you download the Dolby Access app from the Microsoft Store, you can, first of all, that's how you'll set up virtual or real surround sound if you have your PC hooked up to speakers, but you've also got Dolby Atmos for headphones, which is their virtual surround setup. Now, this does cost $15 through an in-app purchase for most people. However, if you have an ROG laptop or a device like an Ally, it comes with that license for free. So you already have this built into your laptop, no need to pay for it. You can just open up the Dolby Access app, click Setup under Dolby Atmos for headphones. There are some settings like performance mode, which prioritizes positional accuracy for competitive gaming. You do have some equalizer settings that you can do here instead of Armory Crate. Again, only do one so they don't conflict with each other. You don't want Armory Crate's virtual surround on at the same time as Dolby Atmos generally. And then you'll go back to that setting down here once Dolby Access is set up, and you'll be able to select Dolby Atmos from the list. Try that. See how that one resonates with you. And there are other plugins as well. Some games even have their own built-in virtual surround options. So I think that tends to be a little bit less common today. It's mostly in competitive games. So I don't know, like, you play Rainbow Six Siege. Like, does that have its own virtual surround built into the settings or not?
You know, I haven't looked closely enough, which
Now
is
you'll go
probably
look.
why I'm so low ranked. Yeah. I was relying on Armory Crate, and it's been doing well for me.
There you go. See, that's all you need.
Content.
No, but like,
there.
Literally,
Safe answer.
For real, you try all of them out and see which works for you. And if you have a game that supports it, try it out. But I think those are kind of becoming less common because it's built into Windows and stuff. And a lot of games are working with Dolby to support Dolby Atmos instead. So like Overwatch used to have its own little Dolby Atmos plugin. CSGO used to have its own virtual surround option in the settings. I don't know if those are as common as they used to be, but you'll have to try it and see. See what's available to you. So try all the different plugins that are available to you. You'll see which ones kind of resonate with your ears most. And yeah, I like playing with virtual surround. It's a fun thing to do. And as Robert is always worried about, it might give you a competitive advantage if you aren't a noob like me.
We're gonna see your pro skills tomorrow.
That's not as sweaty as I'm not good at sweaty FPS in general. I love FPS games, but I'm not like super competitive about it. Kart racers, different story.
By the way, Green Fox asks, is the Dolby Atmos, is that only free in our laptops?
I don't believe it comes with our motherboards, but I'm not actually positive about that. I can kind of double check for you. I know it comes with our laptops. I know it comes with the Ally. It may come with some of our pre-built desktops. Our pre-built desktops, like even though they're desktops and they use our desktop components, they generally fall under the purview of like the same department of the company that makes the laptops. I don't think. Oh, you know what? It says Dolby Atmos on motherboards. So it's, this is one of those things that if you already have the product, it's really easy to go check by just opening the Dolby Access app and seeing if it prompts you for a license or not. You also, if you've reinstalled Windows though, or I think you need to install Dolby Access from our site. So instead of installing it from the Microsoft Store, like go grab the download from our site. That may contain your built-in license.
And one more tip pulled from the comments, people are discussing weight for headsets. That is an important setting because it needs to be comfy for you to wear. So the trick there to optimize that is to make sure you buy the headset that's right for you. Look at the weight counts, look at the gram counts.
Well,
and
it is a little bit more complicated than that, though. And so we've talked a little bit about this with the Ally, for example, that the distribution of weight and the ergonomics can affect the perceived weight. The gram count is not always the end-all, be-all. And so, yes, certain headsets like the ROG Pelta, which neither of us are wearing right now. That's designed to be like our most comfortable headset. It is lighter weight,
Yes.
but
also it's got an elastic headband strap to conform to your head.
Stuff like that matters. But even so, I will say I used to review headphones for a living. And this is one of the most comfortable, if not the most comfortable headset I've ever worn. And part of that is just how thick the headband is, how firm the cushioning is, and the softness of the leather. All of those kinds of things do make a difference. And that is one of the advantages that I think a lot of gaming headsets, especially our gaming headsets, have over just regular headphones from like audio companies. Like a lot of people will just say, why don't you just go buy this pair of highly regarded audio headphones? Well, most of those are not wireless. And if they are, they're Bluetooth. So you're getting some of those, like you're not getting the latency advantages of the 2.4 gigahertz that you would on one of these. A lot of times they're not as comfortable for really long sessions. At the top of our list, when we're designing a headset, right? Sound quality and comfort are like the top two things. Latency, I guess too. But so these are the kind of things that go into a gaming headset more than some other products. Like I wear glasses. Wearing glasses with headphones is like an exercise in frustration. And I've had many headphones that just like pinched these against my face. And these do not do that. You guys have seen me wear these for 3 hours plus on streams on this channel. So freaking comfortable. So the weight tells part of the story, but it's not the whole story. And that is one of the reasons that I love our headset so much. It's like a leather cloud on my head.
There you have it.
So, guys, if you want more info on all of this, we've written an article. Actually, we've written multiple articles about all this stuff. So you can check out the link in the video description. If you don't have an ROG headset yet, I put some links in there as well for you to check out, mainly for the Delta 2 and the Pelta. But we actually offer many different headsets at many different price points. So see what's available in your region and try them out for yourself. I hope you like what you hear. That is it for our main topic today. But as always, this is just part of our show. If you want to see the full ROG Pulse live stream, you can tune in every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We do giveaways. We talk about games. We answer your questions, even if it's not about the product that we're talking about that day, all kinds of other stuff. So be sure to watch live to see the full show. And to see even more awesome ROG gear, you can follow and subscribe right here to the ROG Twitch and YouTube channels. Jake streams games on Tuesdays and Fridays here using his ROG gear, and it is always a good time. But tomorrow it's going to be me and Robert playing Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
Oh yeah, the real fun.
We will see you guys there.